In this video today, we are going to be talking about data analytics. So first, let's start with the agenda, or the topics that we are going to be going over today in this video. First, I'm going to start off with the definition of what data analytics is. Then I'm going to distinguish the difference between data analytics and data analysis. And then go further on to explain how does it work, and explain other key concepts and where analytics is used, and the different types of analytics, and the job description of a data analyst, and the data analytics skills, and then finally conclude it with the conclusion. And the last slide would be the references of the sources that I used in this video. So first off, let's start off with the definition of data analytics. Data analytics can be seen as the science of examining raw data. It's a method of collecting qualitative and quantitative data from website visits, conversion rates, and drawing conclusions from it, or for the purpose of making informed marketing decisions. You have to examine, explore, and evaluate that information in order to discover meaningful insights in the patterns or gathering more knowledge from the data. The overall goal is just to draw more information from that data. So before we go further on into the video, I wanted to clarify the difference between data analytics and data analysis. As you can already see, both of them sound the same and are almost spelled the same. So they're often confused and sometimes used interchangeably. But both data analytics and data analysis rely heavily on mathematics and statistics. But data analysis is more usually defined broadly and includes examinations of the bodies of the data, or for the purpose of discovering information in the data and or supporting a conclusion. Sometimes both of the concepts overlap between the methodologies, and they might both draw on data mining, modeling, or data visualization. But the important difference in the overall definition is that analytics focuses on the patterns. It's usually used in numerous industries or academic disciplines, and even from finance to law enforcement and in marketing. So the next step is figuring out how does data analytics actually work. Well, data analytics can be separated into two categories: quantitative data analysis and qualitative data analysis. So let me explain the difference between the two. Quantitative data analysis involves the numerical data with quantifiable variables that can be compared or measured statistically, while the qualitative approach is more interpretive. It focuses on understanding the content of the non-numerical data. So examples of this would be like the text, images, the audio, or even common phrases used, the common themes, or different points of views. Data analytics can help businesses increase revenues, improve the operational efficiency, and optimize marketing campaigns and customer service efforts. This will respond more to the new market trends and be gaining competitive edge over the rivals, all with the end goal of boosting business performance. This depends on which method that is used. The data that's analyzed can either be from historical records or new information that has been processed through real-time analytic uses. This can come from a mixture of internal systems or external data sources. So next, I would like to go further on and talk about the other key concepts that are involved in analytics that you might have heard of. These would be machine learning, neural networks, and data mining. So let me go through each one and explain what exactly they are. Well, machine learning is the branch of computer science that grew out of computational statistics. So basically, this means that it focuses on the development of algorithms, such as through the modeling and learning from the data sets and how exactly they operate. This can express outputs that are data-driven decisions or predictions. So a common example would be emailing, the spam filtering button. And this monitors the emails that users normally mark as spam. And this would analyze the emails for those common characteristics and do a profile examination and predict the probability of the email being spam. Next, we'll talk about neural networks, which are used in a machine learning to model functions that have a large number of possible inputs. So they're often used in special kinds of decision making, so a pattern recognition application. So this would be like a software in handwriting, or speech recognition, vehicle control, radar systems, and even the artificial intelligence in computer games. Next, we'll talk about data mining. This is a computer science subfield that is devoted to using computers to discover patterns in data sets, especially if the data set is too large to be analyzed by human operators. So the computers can search for those patterns that pose a specific challenge to humans because the size of the data set or the nature of the data or the pattern. Because the way how a human operator works is that it works against their ability to perceive certain patterns in visual data that is really obvious in a computer because the data is mined by a program. So now that we've talked about how it works and some of the key concepts, where exactly is analytics used? Well, it's used almost everywhere. At the movies, sports fields, to even deciding what TV show to watch next. All these activities have been made more efficient by the use of analytics. So let me give you a real-life situation. So, for instance, Netflix. It's an American provider of on-demand internet streaming media where you watch the most recent television shows and you can stream it through your TV, computer, or gaming system. So recently, Netflix revolutionized the way television content is created for audiences, and they did that through analytics, and they had to collect a lot of data to show this. One of the things they did is they have a viewing preference for their members, and they can predict what genres, what kind of people want to watch, and in what dramas. They have different advertisements and promotions for the series that tailor to these different type of viewers, such as if you were a fan of a particular celebrity, it would show those movies or TV shows that they were featured in, or recommend TV shows that are similar to the ones that you just watched. Political parties also rely on analytics to get key messages across to their voters. Another example would be tools like Google Analytics or Mixpanel, which both allow you to track metrics like how many visitors came to your website, how many visitors came back after a certain amount of hours or days, or how many people did the same action more than once within the application, and so on. Now let's go into the detail of the different types of analytics. Well, there's 4 distinct types of analytics. That is descriptive, diagnostic, predictive, and prescriptive. So let's say, for example, your company decides to make a survey where it thinks about 1,000 people will take it, but it turns out only 100 people take it. When you first look at the data to see exactly who did and didn't take the survey, that is described as descriptive analytics. Next, when you go into further of trying to find the location of the participants, which email platforms they used, and what time of day they took the survey to determine why only such few people took it, that is the diagnostic analytics. And let's say you want to do further research, and you do another survey, and you want to compare the data from your first survey to know the potential respondents in your next test to predict how people will answer it based on the similarities or differences in the demographics or processes. You're trying to figure out what will happen, and that's predictive analytics. And then finally, maybe you want to know how to increase the numbers of respondents on your next survey. So you'll want to use the past data to hypothesize ways to change behavior and reach more people who are likely to respond. And that's prescriptive analytics. Moving further on about data analytics, let's talk about the job description of what a data analyst would do. Well, first off, they acquire and process a lot of data, and they translate those numbers into plain English for businesses to collect those data to figure out the sale figures, market research, logistics, or even transportation costs. And their job is basically to take that data, use it to help companies, and make better decisions for those businesses. What this means is that this can help figure out how to price the new materials for the market, how to reduce transportational costs, solve issues that cost the company more money, or even determining how many people should even work on the weekends. Now that we've talked about the job description of what a data analyst does, let's go further into detail and talk about the data analytics skills that they need to possess. Well, first off, they need to have programming skills. And just knowing the programming languages is important to any data analyst. And this includes like SAS, R, and Python. Next, an important skill to have is statistical skills and mathematics. This is just describing and making inferences on the statistics and experimental designs. Another skill to have is machine learning skills, and this uses statistical analysis to partition data. So an example of this would be just reading the comments written by different people on Yelp and predicting from those comments whether that person would have marked a restaurant a 4-star or a 5-star. Another skill to have is data wrangling skills, and this is just the ability to map out raw data and converting it into another format that allows it to be more convenient for the consumption of the data. And last but not least, another skill is communication and data visualization skills. So many of the times data analysts have to present their findings or translate that data into an understandable document. So you will need to know how to write and speak very clearly to communicate those complex ideas. Having critical thinking is important too, because data analysts have to look at the numbers, trends, and come to new conclusions based on those findings. So you really have to pay close attention to the detail. Data is very precise, so data analysts have to make sure that their information is correct in order to come to the correct conclusions. Now I will conclude this video and go over the topics that we went over today in this video about data analytics. Data analytics focuses on the processes and performs statistical analysis of data. Data analytics and data analysis are different even though they show a lot of the same similar qualities. Data analytics discovers how data can be used to draw conclusions and solve problems. Data analysis takes that information and tries to find ways to further improve a business's products or make any inferences as to why a person thinks the way they do when they take surveys or even have a particular interest on an item. The skills needed to become a data analyst range from a variety of skill sets to help understand and make adjustments to the data collected. Data analytics uses these techniques and methods to successfully communicate results.